So, as always, first it is important to develop the right motivation, and then also with the right attitude and right perception, you should receive this teaching on triple vision, which has three main parts: the impure vision, vision of experience, and the pure vision. So at the moment, we are in the second vision, the vision of experience, that also has common and uncommon. At the moment, we are in the common vision of experience. This also has three main parts, which are known as the loving kindness, compassion, and Bodhicitta. So today, you are going to receive the teaching on Bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is very important because before we said negative action is very serious and we need to abandon the negative actions and we must accomplish virtuous deeds. So therefore, before we said we need to abandon negative actions, we need to accomplish virtuous deeds, and also we need to meditate or practice on loving kindness towards other sentient, all the sentient beings, and then also need to practice great compassion towards all the sentient beings also. But just by doing these virtues, we will not be able to attain Buddhahood. Just by abandoning non-virtue, accomplishing virtues, and practicing loving kindness and compassion, just by these practices alone, one cannot attain Buddhahood. Although they are positive actions, they are virtuous deeds, they are the cause of happiness, but just by themselves, they cannot yield the ultimate result. They cannot yield the ultimate happiness. Or just by themselves, we cannot, or one cannot gain Buddhahood. Although these practices like abandoning non-virtue, accomplishing virtues, and practicing loving kindness and compassion, these are main factors to attain the Buddhahood. We must have these factors to attain Buddhahood, but just by themselves, we cannot gain Buddhahood. We need the main cause. The main cause to attain Buddhahood is the enlightened mind, or the Bodhicitta. Without Bodhicitta, just by these positive thoughts and actions, will not be the cause of attaining Buddhahood. Because, for example, if you don't dig out the root of the tree, then no matter how much branches and leaves that we cut from the tree, still it will grow again, because at that time the root of the tree is not eliminated. The root of the tree is still there. So therefore it will grow again. So similarly, just through the practice of virtues or loving kindness and compassion, we cannot dig out the root of the samsara, the root of the suffering, which is apprehending inherent identity of person and the phenomena. So especially the apprehending inherent identity of a person. If you don't dig out this, if you don't eliminate this, then we cannot gain liberation, or we cannot gain or attain Buddhahood. So, just through the practice of virtues and loving kindness and compassion, one cannot gain liberation, because these positive thoughts or positive actions are not the real antidote to eliminate the apprehending inherent identity of a person. So since the root is not eliminated through these practices, so therefore one cannot gain liberation just through these practices. So therefore, this bodhicitta is very important. We can say, according to the Mahayana tradition, according to the Mahayana path, without this bodhicitta, one cannot gain liberation from the samsara. But through the practice of Sharavaka and Patika Buddha path, one can gain liberation from this samsara. But according to the Mahayana path, just through the practice of loving kindness and compassion, one cannot gain liberation. So, therefore, it is important to develop and practice the enlightened mind. Actually, not just one cannot gain liberation through the Mahayana path without the bodhicitta, but also without the bodhicitta, actually one cannot enter into the Mahayana path. Although we have, or we performed virtuous deeds and we have loving kindness and compassion, but still, without the bodhicitta, even one cannot enter into the Mahayana path. Not just we cannot gain liberation and enlightenment state, but even one cannot enter into the Mahayana path without the bodhicitta. So, therefore, bodhicitta is very, very important. So, if you don't eliminate the root of this samsara, which is apprehending inherent identity of the person, without that one cannot gain liberation. Because without that, then one will be born and dead in this samsara again and again without any ending. So therefore it is called the cyclic existence. Samsara is called the cyclic existence because it never ends. It turns all the time without any ending, or it turns continuously until the root of the samsara is eliminated. As it is mentioned earlier, one's own karma is the cause of all the animate and inanimate things that we see in this world. And these actions or the karma are motivated by the mind, especially the negative karma is motivated by the ignorance that fails to know the law of karma, and then attachment and anger. And these mental afflictions are caused by the apprehending inherent identity of the self. Because when we fail to realize the true nature or the real nature, then we have this kind of ignorance. Just like if we mistakenly cling colorful rope as a snake, actually at that time, in reality, there's a colorful rope. There's no snake at that particular place. But out of illusion or by mistake, we cling the colorful rope as a snake. And because of this, it makes us feel very scared, or it makes us to feel afraid. But in reality, there's no cause of fear at that place. So similarly, in reality, there's no self or person. If there's a self, then or the person, then either it has to be the name or the body or this mind. And if we examine these three individually, where's the self, then we can't find the self in the name or in the body or in the mind. So therefore, there's no self. So there's no genuine reason to prove that there's a self which is inherently existent in reality. But still, out of illusion, out of ignorance, we cling as a self, or we have this apprehending inherent identity of self. So when there's a self, then there's others. So because of this, then we have attachment towards one's own side and anger towards others' side. So through this way, these three poisons are generated in our mind. Then it causes the other mental afflictions to appear or to generate, and these mental afflictions will cause oneself to engage in more and more negative actions. So through this way, there will be no end to the samsara. So the root of all the sufferings of the samsara is the apprehending inherent identity of self. So this is the root of all the suffering of samsara. So in order to tame this, or in order to subdue this, we need to practice, or we need to develop the two kinds of bodhicitta, which are known as the relative bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. So these two are the antidotes. So there are two kinds of antidotes. The relative bodhicitta controls the mental affliction so that it won't increase, it won't grow. But it cannot, the relative bodhicitta cannot eliminate the apprehending inherent identity of a self or a person. So first, through the practice of relative bodhicitta, one needs to control the such apprehending. And then we need to practice or meditate on the ultimate bodhicitta, which can really eliminate or eradicate the apprehending inherent identity of a person. So therefore, the bodhicitta is very important. I think the word bodhi, refers to enlightenment state, or bodhi refers to Buddha. So here Bodhi means Buddha or enlightenment state, and Citta means mind. So which means the mind that wish to attain Buddhahood, or the mind that wish and want to attain Buddhahood is called the Bodhicitta. I think this is like the literally meaning of the Bodhicitta. So this Bodhicitta is divided, or this subject Bodhicitta has three sub-subjects. As it is said in the text, the wishing or aspiring enlightenment mind, or thought of mind, which is the desire for the result for the sake of others. Second, the entering enlightenment thought or engaging enlightenment mind, which is the training on the path for the sake of the result. And third, the ultimate enlightenment mind, which is the combination of calm abiding and insight wisdom. I think it's better to use mind than thought, right? Especially the ultimate enlightenment is not a thought, it's a wisdom. If we check in detail, then I don't know whether we can also use mind or not in this case. Anyway, here I don't know whether we can or not, but we use mind. So there are three sub-subjects. So first one is the wishing enlightenment mind, which we need to develop for the sake of others. So through the practice of loving kindness and compassion, we can develop the unfabricated or genuine loving kindness and compassion that can extend to all the sentient beings without any difficulties, and one can extend to all these sentient beings all the time without any difficulties. But just having these thought, like loving kindness and compassion to all, just by this thought, one cannot lead the sentient beings from the samsara, and especially from the lower realms, to liberation and to the enlightenment state. So therefore, if one really need to rescue all the sentient beings from the sufferings, and if one really needs to place all the sentient beings on the state of temporary happiness and ultimate happiness, then we need to develop this bodhicitta. Because generally speaking, the sentient beings are limitless. Just like space is limitless, similarly the sentient beings are also limitless. And all these limitless sentient beings are very important to us because they are the cause of our Dharma practice. They are the cause of oneself to attain Buddhahood. And also, we can say we need to think of all these sentient beings because they are our own mother, dear mother, or dear parents, or close ones in the past lifetimes, because we are born in this samsara not only one time, but infinite time, and whenever we are born in this samsara, we want to have the same mother or parents or close ones again and again all the time. Sometimes it can happen the same, but sometimes, most of the time, it is not the same. So therefore, through such reason, one can prove that all are one's own close ones. So therefore, now we have the best time or best opportunity to repay their kindness through the practice of Dharma, such as loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. So this is one of the reasons why we have to think of all the sentient beings. Then second, as it is said in the Bodhisattva Avatara, all one's happiness is caused by wishing others to be happy. All one's suffering is caused by wishing oneself to be happy. So therefore, we must think of others in order to accomplish the purpose of both others and self. And also, all of us have the same wish, whether oneself or other sentient beings or other limitless sentient beings. We all have the same wish, which is to gain happiness and to overcome the suffering. So, since we all have this common goal to achieve, while having this common goal, if we ignore others' welfare and well-being and just emphasize on accomplishing one's own goal or one's own happiness and to overcome the suffering, then it is not right. Because of this also, we need to think of all the sentient beings. And then one of the main reasons is that we as a Mahayana Buddhists, when we received the Bodhicitta vow, and after that then we became Mahayana Buddhists. So at that time, we have promised to help all the sentient beings. Actually, in the Bodhisattva Avatara text, it says, "Dagi tirinkyoba tamjiki, jangar dowa deshe nitane, pardo dela duendo pesinki, hadang hamin laso gawaraki." So it means today, the day one has received the Bodhicitta vow, on that day, in front of Buddhas, in front of all the Buddhas, we have promised to invite all the sentient beings as our guests, which means we will benefit all of them. We will serve all these limitless sentient beings to place them on the state of temporary and ultimate happiness. So therefore, all these gods and demigods who are serving the Buddha Dharma. So we are saying, one is saying, may all of them be pleased by one's own promise or by one's own resolve. So we have promised to help all the sentient beings when we develop the bodhicitta or when we receive the bodhicitta vow. For example, if a mundane person invites many of his own or her own friends to their own house, so after the invitation, they will come as a guest to one's own house. When they come, if one does not treat them well, if one does not have warm hospitality to them, then it is not right. It is shameful. After sending the invitation, if one does not put any effort to welcome them or to treat them, then it is shameful. So Similarly, if we don't emphasize on others, if we just ignore about others after such promise or after such invitation, then it is shameful or it is not right. Generally speaking, in the mundane world also, breaking a promise is considered as a bad thing to do. Once we promise, we must do according to our own promise. So here, because we have promised, or one has promised to help all the sentient beings without any exception or discrimination, so because of this also, one needs to help and serve all these sentient beings. But at the moment, one does not have the power to help all the sentient beings. For example, if a person is drowning in the ocean, that person cannot rescue fellow human beings who are also drowning in the ocean. If one cannot rescue oneself, then how can one rescue others from the ocean? So similarly, at the moment, due to one's own negative karma and mental affliction, one is drowning in the ocean of samsara. So at this time, one does not have the power to rescue the fellow sentient beings who are also drowning in the ocean of samsara. So not only oneself does not have such power, but even the powerful worldly gods, they also don't have the full power. They also don't have the power because they themselves are in the ocean of samsara. And then even the noble beings such as Sharavakas and Pajega Buddhas and noble Bodhisattvas who are on the first to 10 bhumi, or who are on the path of seeing and path of meditation, they also don't have the ultimate power or complete power to rescue all the sentient beings from the suffering of samsara. So only Buddha, only the complete Buddha has the full power or ultimate power to rescue all the sentient beings from the ocean of samsara. So therefore, in order to help all the sentient beings, one also needs to generate the wish to gain Buddhahood for the sake of all these sentient beings. So through this reason, we need to develop this bodhicitta or this wishing bodhicitta or aspiring bodhicitta. So no matter whatever situation that one may face, one must not give up such wish. One must not give up the wish to attain Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings. And after attaining Buddhahood, then one need to lead the sentient beings from the ocean of samsara through their own different mentalities. For example, the skillful captain that takes others to the Jewel Island or Jewel Island. Jewel Island in the ancient time, they need to go by boat. So this when they go in the boat for weeks and weeks or for months, so sometimes they feel tired of being in this ocean for so long time. So this skillful captain sometimes take them to a island on the way to the Jewel Land, or Jewel Island. Before that, this skillful captain bring them to another island on the way so that they can rest on the journey, or on the earth, on the dry earth, or on the earth, on the land, yeah, on the land. And then after resting on the land, then again they will resume their journey to the Jewel Island. So similarly, those who cannot enter into the Mahayana path directly, for them, just like skillful captain, the Buddha has taught them the other vehicles. So first they can enter into the other vehicle or other path of the other Buddhist path, and then gradually Buddha lead them to the Mahayana path and eventually to the ultimate state. So we should have such kind of wish. So anyway, this wishing or aspiring bodhicitta is very important. So not only we need to recite this aspiring bodhicitta prayer, but main thing is to remember the meaning or to visualize the meaning of this aspiring bodhicitta all the time, or as much as one can. And also, there's a great benefit in developing or in having this bodhicitta. Actually, in one of the sutras, it says, "Chanjusem yosanam kang kalde tela suchina namge kamne kungane teyakane thavar gyurus." Kungane teyakane thavar gyurus, which means if the benefit of developing the bodhicitta is in a physical form, then even the whole space is too small, or even the whole space cannot, or the whole space or is too small to contain it. So which means it has great benefit. So therefore, this great bodhicitta is very important. And also in the Bodhisattva Chayatara by Great Shantideva, it says, "Chanjusamki kyuna kijiki kowe tonror dambe nyamtanam deshanamki seshu jojashing jiten hamir jebe chachar gyurus," which means by developing the bodhicitta, one can transform the name and the meaning. One can transform the name and actuality of the person. Transformation of the name means from ordinary person, after developing the bodhicitta, now one becomes bodhisattva. So some people might think, or some people think bodhisattva is very high. Some people might think, I'm a Mahayana Buddhist, but I'm not a bodhisattva. And sometimes when people praise to a guru, they say, the guru is real bodhisattva. They think they praise the guru in a very in a great way or in a very high way, but actually saying guru is real bodhisattva is not a real praise, because bodhisattva has actually different levels, and actually all the Mahayana Buddhists are bodhisattva, because bodhisattva means the one who has the bodhicitta. So one who has the bodhicitta is called the bodhisattva. But then, of course, there are many different levels within the bodhisattvas, like bodhisattvas who are on the part of accumulation, or part of application, or part of seeing, or part of meditation. So if we are Mahayana Buddhists, if one is Mahayana Buddhist, then definitely that person is Bodhisattva. Actually, entering into the Mahayana path, developing Bodhicitta, becoming Bodhisattva are all at the same time. In the Vajrayana, we say Guru is Buddha. And in the Mahayana teaching, the teacher, we should think that the teacher is like a Buddha. As it is said in the Domsum Rave by the great Sakya Pandita Kunga Gyaltsen Pal Sangpo, he said, Parochimbe Tebale, Lama Sangye Taburu, Tawarcha, etc. So, according to the Paramitayana teaching, we should perceive the Guru or the Master or the Dharma teacher as a like a Buddha. So anyway, if one is Buddhist, then one is Bodhisattva. So here it says, by developing the Bodhicitta, one transforms the name from ordinary being to Bodhisattva. So this is the transformation of the name. And the second is the transformation of actuality, which means after developing Bodhicitta, one becomes the object of veneration from the gods and human beings, etc. Or one becomes the object of prostration by gods and human beings, etc. And also, in the Bodhisattva Chaya Avatara text, it explains through examples how benefit it is to have the Bodhicitta. So in the Bodhisattva Chaya Avatara, it says, Bodhicitta is like the elixir that transformed the copper or iron into gold. And also it's like the, because Bodhicitta transformed ordinary human being into Buddha. Through the Bodhicitta, one can become, the ordinary person can become Buddha. And also, it says, Bodhicitta is like wish fulfilling jewel, or more than wish fulfilling jewel. Because through this Bodhicitta, one can attain Buddhahood. And also, it's like wish fulfilling tree. Because with the Bodhicitta, one can control over many qualities. And we will have inexhaustible ultimate qualities through the practice of Bodhicitta or through the Bodhicitta. And also, it says Bodhicitta is like a brave army generals, because Bodhicitta can control or can suppress the negative actions. And also in other texts, also in other teachings, it explains about the benefit of having this Bodhicitta. And also in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara itself, it says Bodhicitta is like the fire of the end of the eon. The fire of the end of the eon can destroy great, or all the phenomena, or many animate and inanimate objects, or like that. So similarly, this bodhicitta can destroy, or can destroy all these negative actions and obscurations. Not all at one time, but gradually we can destroy all the obscurations, or it can eliminate all the obscurations. So therefore, the most holy thing that is in the Dharma teaching is bodhicitta. So this bodhicitta is very, very important. For example, if a person gives food to, a person helps like 50 or 100 children by giving food every day for years and years, then people consider such person as a very generous and very kind person or good person. But here, through the development of bodhicitta, one wish to help all the sentient beings, not only 50 or 100 or few hundred, etc., but wish to help all the sentient beings, and not only for few years or many years or few centuries, but for endless time. So therefore, then there's no need to mention that how good such a person is. So therefore, all this can happen because of this bodhicitta. So bodhicitta is very, very important. And this bodhicitta is like a wish to go to a destination. For example, if one wish to go to a particular country or city or town, then first one needs to have the wish to go there. But then, if you think carefully, there's two kinds of wish. A wish that we generate before taking the journey, and wish that we have while taking the journey. While taking the journey, if one don't have the same wish, then one might return, or one might not continue the journey. So there are two kinds of wish. Wish that generates before taking the journey, and wish that generates while taking the journey. So since, like the Bodhisattva Avatara, one develops the aspiring bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta at the same time. So therefore, one can say such wish is a wish that one has while taking the journey, not the wish that one has before taking the journey. So this is the wishing bodhicitta or aspiring bodhicitta. And also, like in the Abhisamaya Alankara Nama text by Buddha Maitreya, he explained the bodhicitta with the 22 examples. Like in the text it says, 태양 사스르 다와메 때르탄 렌전 존에서 도르제 레메싱에다 이신도 분님으로 갸보토던 람보체 샤바카메 초다네 당연 추 띠남기. So anyway, he explained with the 22 examples. So anyway, this bodhicitta is very, very important. So now we will have a short break.